Yu-Gi-Oh! Mint.com is now TradingCardMint.com. Please check out their selection of over 20,000 cards with prices cheaper than TCG Player.
All right. What is up, YouTube? M40 here. It has been a little while since I have got Touch Gear Chronicle, and with the release of The Answer of Truth, I'm ecstatic to be back playing one of my babies. So I do want to give a shout out to our friends at TradingCardMint.com down below in the description. If you guys need any sort of cards that they have on their site, enter MCool40 on checkout, and you will save a little bit of money. Now, also, Zero Damage Playmats has the same offer to you guys. If you're looking to get a playmat, if you enter MCool40 on checkout, you will save a little bit of money over there as well. Every little bit counts, and I think it is a good opportunity for people as well. So, TradingCardMint.com, Zero Damage Playmats as well, all down below in the description. Just follow the links. It's pretty straightforward. Now, ye old Gear Chronicle. So, we don't have a G-Zone standard, so the only real thing that they could do with this deck was shove your G-Zone in your main deck. That's right. Now, for as much as I've played this deck, at least 20 games so far, kind of getting the hang of how things work. Reading can be hard at times. I learned a couple things. One, your deck can burn out very quickly. And number two, you need to kind of get that toolbox part of your deck going. If you can't really toolbox, then you're going to have a hard time. Now, the reason I say that is because fundamentally, you are only playing 4 grade 3s. And this has come up a couple of times that I actually wish we had a better grade 3 to kind of add to this, but there's nothing you can do about it. I also thought playing this, that the Counter Blast 2 on Ride would actually kind of be terrible, but it's actually not. So for those of you that don't know, you can discard cards with the sum grade of being 3 or more from your hand, search your deck for a grade 4, and write it on stand. And then shuffle your deck. And at the end of the turn, retire that unit, and then write a grade 3 from your soul at rest. So all of the grade 4s for this deck don't have gift markers, of course. It'd be too broken. And then you can Counterblast 2 when this card is wrote upon to draw a card, which is actually pretty bonkers for what it is. You don't use your Counterblast for anything else in this deck, so literally just CB2 draw 1 every single time is pretty free. Outside of that, I haven't got to the point too much of rewriting him on top of himself and things like that. And you also don't really care about your soul all that much in this game. Just be very careful to not soul blast your grade 3, because when his skill kicks in at the end of the turn to purge yourself, yeah, it's pretty good. Also, the thing that makes this card so dumb is the fact that it's an act. So I can go into my main phase, set up my board however I want, and then I can just go, oh, hey, by the way, it's time to stride in the middle of my main phase. I actually think that's probably the dumbest thing about this, because you can just resource your hand and then do everything that you want for no real reason. Now, of course, Lost Legend is the only grade 3. Alright, so now this is the thing. This is all I ever want to do with my life. I just want to keep looping Mystery Freeze, fucking Mystery Flare Dragon every single turn I can. So when you ride this, you will activate the effects in sequence based on your cards bound via the grade. So 3 or more, he will get Drive +1. 7 or more, he's going to get Crit +1. 13 or more, choose 6 of your units. They're going to get 10,000 power. And then 19 or more, at the end of the turn, you're going to discard your whole hand, and then you get to take an additional turn. And then, of course, you can't ride that turn. So, of course, you're going to be stuck on Lost Legend, which is okay. I mean, it's still Twin Drive. Can't be too mad about it. They had to put some sort of restriction on this. But this is kind of my go-to guy. Slamming triple drive every single turn that you can. If you can go first and you can get to the total 7 grades bound, and you can slam your opponent with the crit, also with the force marker, you have to understand that, I mean, you're basically 25 every single turn, which is pretty nuts, actually. So I got to give it up to this guy. He does a lot more work than I actually probably would have thought. well, this is what happens when you give the deck 8 good cards, but the only real issue you have is consistency is your enemy. Now, I was very indifferent about this guy. I still am. I kind of think that this card is horrible. So this is Idealized Dragon. So, same effect as our other friend. On ride, you'll activate the effects in sequence. So, if you have 1 or more bound for a grade, your opponent will choose one of his or her rear guards and put it in the bottom of the deck. If you have 5 or more, you literally mill the top card of your deck and call it. And if you have 11 or more, you can call 2 cards from your drop zone, and 3 of your rear guards are going to get 5k power. I'm going to be honest with all of you. This is just a giant stride fodder that gets bound. That's kind of how I feel about this. I get that when you get into a game state later in the game where you need to regenerate a board for some reason because you've been pressured, yeah, this is probably the way to go. This is a decent sub finisher. There's also been a few games where, you know, you can watch these guys just start going in your damage zone and you cry yourself to sleep very slowly because there's jack shit you can do about it. So that's one thing I do want to say about that. I think 3 of this is fine. I saw some builds in Japan, very strange ratios, only playing like 2 Mystery Freeze and like 4 of this. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe this card's a lot better than it actually is, but I don't know, triple drive every turn for pressure is just so good. Now, you don't get a lot of room in your grade 2s. This is probably the best grade 2 in your deck, so you need a way to turbo through your deck. I mean, you're probably going to G-assist a turn or 2. I'm going to just be honest with you guys, but this is on place Vanguard, rear guard, bind a card from your hand face up, draw a card. Hey look, bind this, I met my requirements for my grade that I needed. We did it. And on rear guard, if your bind zone has a face-up card in it, this guy gets 3k, he's a 13k attacker. Nothing too spicy about this guy, but I do like that on Vanguard ride, get the free bind, free deck thin for 1 more card. Absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm also kind of indifferent about playing 4 of this. I've been a little bit back and forth on this since testing, but she's not on attack, so she's fine. So, on place from hand, choose a card from your bind zone, or from your drop zone, and bind it. So, the only real thing I've had is, like, I have the grade 4 in my hand that I need to discard, but, like, I can't get it from my hand into the drop zone and still use it to discard to pay the pseudo stride cost. So, I do think that 4 of this is correct in that mentality, just because it does speed up the process of getting the drop zone, you know, into the bind zone where it needs to be. So, 4 copies of this. Now, I love this card. This card has been nothing but kind to me. So, on attack, going after Vanguard, you bind a card from your drop zone, and then your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater cards from his or her hand until the end, or for that battle. And at the end of the battle, this card goes whoosh into the soul to draw a card. I think that this card is absolutely nuts. When you start, the later you get in the game, with the more force markers that you kind of start to generate, this card starts to get a lot more crazy. So, I really do like this card. So, that is my grade 2s in a nutshell. Now, grade 1s, we have 4 copies of Wedge Dragon. I love this little guy. If you discard him, you can count him as a grade 3, Essential Stride Fodder. And then if you have to ride him, he has the skill on hit, discard a card from your, or bind a card from your hand, draw a card. This is also kind of the thing that if you go first, he lets you speed up the process. Not the best skill to give to Vanguard, but I understand that they had to give it that. Now, this is the card that makes the world go around. This card is nuts. So, you can select any card from your drop zone. Put 1 card from your drop zone on the bottom of your deck. You want to put a trigger, you want to put a heal back, go for it. You can. If you put a grade 3 or higher unit back from your drop zone, you get to Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. This is everything I've ever wanted in my brick stride deck to recycle my bricks. This thing just makes bad situations a little bit better. They had to give Gear Chronicle some sort of control. And then I'm playing, we don't have the good promo, so this was the path I went. When your Vanguard is placed, you can discard a card, draw a card. If you discard a grade 3 or higher, you get to give this thing 6k. Sucks it's a 6k attacker. I can't beat it up too much. I did consider the grade 2 to call out this, but not enough room. So I think this is fine. Triggers. We have 4 copies of the heal. I am playing 7 crits. I hate the flavor text on this guy, so he gets the boot. Then we're playing 5 copies of the draw triggers and 1 copy of the starter. So guys, please, if you have things you want to ask or other things, I have other deck profiles I'll film. I'll get to Standard, Great Nature, and Genesis sometime soon. But guys, please, check out our friends at Trading Card Mint and Zero Damage playmats down below. If you enter MCO40, you will save a little bit of money on your order. And, well, guys, that's Standard Gear Chronicle in a nutshell. Alright, guys, peace out.